How cool is that? Bit of springs. Early in the morning, so it hadn't been stirred up too much. Bloody ripper. Bitter Springs. It's Bitter Springs campground. The springs are, I don't know, 300 or 400 metre walk down the road there. And we've spent a couple of nights here. It's been a great spot actually. $40 a night here. They do run a bit of a scheme where if you stay for 3 nights, they'll give you 10% off. It's probably not a big saving, $12, but anyway, better than nothing. The other place up the road, the Mataranka Homestead Resort, I think it's called. We spent a few nights there on our way up, and that costs $35 a night. So a bit cheaper down there. We've got a great spot here. Camper set up just there. This is Roper Creek actually, this one. And we were able to throw a line in. Didn't catch anything, of course. Go through the motions. And I'm pretty sure you could probably have a dip in here as well. We didn't, but and we haven't seen anyone. But I reckon you probably can. Just spotted someone's lure hanging in the tree there. We lost one earlier and there's one just there. So we're not alone losing lures. The water hole, you can almost see the other end of it here. It's only a couple hundred metres long. We'll have a look at this. Good green ant's nest there. We won't disturb him too much. So we just went for a wander up the river. There's a bit of a track. Wander up there and have a fish if you want. A bloody pig rooting around up there. We scared it as much as it scared us, I think. We're a bit out of town here, so if you need to get any restock or resupply or whatever, I think it's about 2.5 k's out of town. Yeah, I'd recommend it. Bitter Springs. Goes all right. On the Roper Highway, I think it's called. Just hit the gravel road after, what's that, 130 odd k's of bitumen. Just hit the gravel, head down. Been on the gravel road for 5, 6, 7 days. So we're heading around the western side of the Gulf of Carpentaria. So pretty overcast today, which is probably fortunate for us because we've got no air conditioner. All the windows open, we're on a 4-speed analog air conditioning. We wander along here, there's quite a few jump ups, it's quite hilly country and typical Gulf savanna, woodlands, lots of rocky outcrops and escarpments, like little gorges. The road intersects them. So there's a lot of this sandstone and dolerite country. It's just after lunch, so we'll probably poke along for another hour or so. Try and find a spot further up on the Roper River. If I recall correctly from previous trips, there's been numerous spots to camp along there. Trying to find somewhere a bit off the track. Anyway, the Western Gulf. Let's have a look. We just poked off the road here along this little track. It's pretty early in the day, possibly too early for a campsite, unless we find a great campsite. Then it's never too early. We're just poking in off the road to the north. The maps are showing a fairly big waterhole on the Roper here, Roper River, fairly recently burnt. Anyway, poke in here and have a look. You just never know if you don't go. Might be the end of our tracks now. Oh, there's water over there. Not the nicest spot to camp. We're not the first to be here. There's bloody empty bottles and dirty nappies just there. We might just go for a quick squeeze. We've just poked in this little track. It was probably this part of a kilometre off the road, and parked up here just on top of the riverbank there. Roper River behind us there. Bloody great little waterhole. You sort of can't get near it, and because of the time of the day, there's not a lot of shade. It's a bit shitty up there too, actually. Locals camp there, obviously. Bit of rubbish around. Get a load of this. You just got to watch, make sure there's no bloody crocs sunning themselves on the beach. Not all that beef out there. There's a croc. There's a croc. Just come to the surface there. Little one, little freshie. Just going under again. Little freshie. A bit of a rock bar just going across the river here, and as such there's this quite deep pool just on the downstream side of it, full of fish. Just spotted a croc back there, only a little one. You know what they say, where there's little ones, yeah, that's right, it's got to be a big one. So there's a whole lot of new stuff going on with the road here. So I think that's the old road down to Roper Bar, and there's a great big new bridge across the Roper River. Now the reason it's called Roper Bar is because of the rock bar that crosses the river, and it was the spot where you could drive across in the right conditions. Here's the original Roper Bar crossing. Oh, it's still Well, this building here dates back to I think about 1913, and it was a police station. This is at Roper Bar, and in 1845 Leichhardt come through here and first put it on the European maps, discovered a bar across the river that he named after one of his party, Mr. Roper. Obviously after Leichhardt came through here, traffic picked up, trade picked up, so this police station was established in 1890 I think it was, and closed in about 1980. So yeah, had a fairly long history there. That's just white history, you might say. In about 1994 the buildings and infrastructure was destroyed by fire. So this building, which is the earlier incarnation of the whole establishment, is still pretty much intact. Yeah, there's lots of remnants around, old engine parts, drainage, tanks. We'll go and have a look around. You got to do penance.
Let me out!
No, you're in there for life. Life behind bars. Oh, we forgot to lock it. You can only imagine the isolation that those that used to serve and be based out of here would have felt. I mean, this is a long way from anywhere. We're going right back to the 1890s. This would have been an outpost of an outpost. Anyway, all this infrastructure is of a more recent era, apart from the old shed out the back there, which was 1913. A bit of brutal country. The river floods. There's stories there of all the infrastructure being inundated multiple times with floods. Police having to retreat back out to the mission, higher ground. So as a result they built new infrastructure, they elevated it off the ground, hence all the steel and concrete pylons. It was all raised up off the ground. But all of that little bit more salubrious accommodation still wouldn't have taken away from the isolation and the harshness of the area. It's still a bit of a frontier out here. Even today you feel pretty isolated and lonely. You can only imagine how those the constabulary used to feel, knowing that they weren't particularly welcome, and they were here to enforce a law that possibly others didn't necessarily understand or appreciate or believe in. Yeah, it's a great spot. I mean, the river's just awesome down here. Big river. Yeah, I don't know, it's just would have been tough. Would have been real tough. It's not a bad spot here. Just had a look around. It's on the shores of the Roper. Nice spot. There's bloody rubbish everywhere, so found a spot out the back there on the other side. It's all a bit of sandy country. There's no rubbish, but there's no shade. So I figure I can do something about the rubbish. I can get rid of the rubbish, but I can't create shade out of nothing. So we'll just spend 10 minutes picking up the rubbish and turn the place into a half reasonable campsite. I suspect most of what I cleaned up down there is come out of the bin, birds and whatever throwing it out of the bin. But I always wonder how this works. We're out in the middle of nowhere. There's a rubbish bin. It's got a gar bag in it. Somebody's looking after it. How often does it get emptied or maintained? I'm not sure. We never put our rubbish in these because it's just a high level of confidence it's going to end up out there somewhere. So we were all set up down there on the Roper River there. We've got the Roper Bar where the crossing goes across the river. We're all set up. Did a bit of work cleaning up the area, rubbish, and nice little spot there. There's plenty of campfires for people to camp. Anyway, old mate wanders up. He says, "Oh, you can't camp here." Oh, right, why not? time of the day when the old gravel pits actually look pretty good. The sun's almost down, the heat's dropped out of the day. Find a greater camp or something. Anyway, I might have to do some more homework around that way. Roper Bar, if you're thinking about camping there at the crossing, just be warned. So this is a place called Tomato Island. It's got a local name too, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'll put it down below. So this is on the Roper River. It's actually in the Limmen National Park. This used to be a bit of a mecca, and it possibly still is, we're just late in the season, a mecca for fishers. And you got the Roper River, which is actually a bit hard to see. There's a boat ramp over here, we'll go and have a look at that. But the Roper River runs through here. It's a big river. You need a boat. You can't really fish here without a boat from what I can see. Heaps of room, and I suspect, just going by the wear and tear on the place at the moment, we're in the end of August, so going by the wear and tear on the place, I suspect that it still gets a fair flogging. I come through here about 10, 11 years ago, before it was actually National Park. It was a proposed park, but it wasn't proclaimed. And the place was like a little tin city. Caravans, humpies, lean-tos, tarps, workshops set up, people selling fuel, garages with welding and cutting, and it was an amazing place. Pipes running everywhere for irrigation and water, pumps down all along the river. But now it's got a reticulated water system. Good toilet block at the back there. Oh, magic toilet block, plenty of hot water. Yeah, laundry, yeah, so it's all there. Wash machine, all that sort of stuff. Just over the river here, in fact you could hear them at night, a bit of vehicle noise and stuff, is a place called Nooka. So it's an indigenous community. It's got all the services and facilities that you might need: supermarket, fuel, church, and people from here often will just duck down there in their boat. To drive there you've got to go all the way back up to Roper Bar and across. It'd be a fair hike. 70k one way, so in a boat it's only a handful of kilometres. Just kind of putting their boat in there now. Might wander over and have a look at that. So there's had a chat to these fellas here, obviously regulars, long-termers. 119k from here down to the mouth. Yeah, I said you do that there and back in the days. Not very often, it's a long haul. Anyway, you can see how big it is, the Roper River. It's a fair bit of water. And even this time of the year, these fellas are saying you still get on to good fish, but the campground's quieting down quite a bit. I think we'll round up a bit of a crew and come back and have a crack at fishing. You obviously need a boat, so we'll have to select the crew. Dave, James, anyway, time to push on. So this is Cinvijian's ruins. Where it's sitting here, it's on a bit of an elevated area overlooking a lagoon there, but I'm pretty sure the story is that it kept getting flooded. The Roper River's a bit over there, and this whole country either side of this ridge certainly looks like it gets inundated. The story goes that basically they got chased out by the floods. Sick of the aftermath. Pretty substantial buildings in their day. I don't know what year it goes back to. We'll do some research on that. This concrete block construction certainly would have been pretty durable. Obviously just got, Jesus, the bloody birds flying out of the grass, scare the shit out of you. Just down the back there is the Limmen, I think that's how you say it, something like that, Limmen Lagoon. I reckon it'd be a great spot of an evening with the bird life. The lilies, water lilies. I'd be surprised if there's a few inhabitants of the crocodilian type. What an awesome spot. So this is what's the name of this place?
Towns River.
This is Towns River. Bloody ripper spot. Right on the water's edge here. We're not catching any fish, but we're going through the motions. Got the fire going. Five to 6, the sun's just going down over there. Getting a few coals ready to cook the dinner. This is the advantage of having the setup we've got here. It's quite, the terrain's not flat, it's all over the joint. It's rock, you'd never get a tent peg in, save yourself. So we're able to just pull up. We didn't even have to level the truck out actually, we're able to just place it right. The work's been a nice breeze all afternoon. There's no shade, so we've had to sit in the lee of the truck to get a bit of shade, but it's just a gentle breeze, keeping the bugs away, the temperature comfortable. Oh, it's just a bloody ripper. We've got a cracker of a sight here, the sun's just going down over there. It's 6 o'clock on the dot. It's a bit of a popular spot here, we've had crew pull in either side of us. It's probably not unexpected. Fire going, we'll start cooking a bit of steak and some veg in a minute. How good's this, eh? How good is this? One of the pick of the sights really. If only we could get a fish, that'd probably top it off just nicely. We've got a couple of, what would they be, 2 months old now, well seasoned Scotch fillet steak. We actually got these butchered at home, so over 2 months ago. Cryovac them. In the bottom of the fridge, we thought we might use them up. Add a little bit of lemon seasoning, lemon pepper seasoning. These are going to be awesome. Scotch fillets, we've just cooked up some potato, pumpkin and sweet potato hash. This should be pretty good. Just as long as I can keep the heat up to my steak, I'll be fine. How good's this? Just got the fire going, billy's on. Sun's just coming up over here. Not a ripple on the water. Still can't get any fish. But oh well, we'll have a cup of tea and just take in the view, I think. This is fantastic. What a spot. Perfect. We just shot past the grader driver back there. He's done a good job. We're on graded road now, all the way through to the ranger station, I think he said. He's got an interesting story out of chat to him on the radio. He's doing what we'd call patrol grade, 15, 18 k's a day he can do, just doing the travelling surface. So make a fair mile. Back that changes right back if he's got to do a full formation grade. Doing all the runoffs and everything, it's back to about 5 k's a day. So still pretty good. So we camped last night and where did we camp last night? Towns River. I won't tell everyone that it's a great spot, but it is. But like all the great spots, be prepared to be overwhelmed by others wanting to camp at the same spot. We all want to camp in the good spots, so if you get there early in the day and you think, ah, it's a great spot, we've got it to ourselves, be prepared to be inundated by the end of the day. There's quite a ducking and weaving little track around here. Certainly no straight lines. So the next point of interest is on the Limmen River. It's about 10k in, so we might be smoko time then, so we might see how we go. Poke in there and have a look. In the meantime, we'll just kick back and enjoy the ride. We've just trekked in, I think it was about 20 odd k's, 21 k's in off the main road into Limmen fishing camp. We have no intention of staying here on this particular trip. We're just coming in for a recce. Have been here 10 years ago and we didn't have a very good recollection of it. So we thought, well, let's just duck back in and have another look. It's probably 40-45 minute drive off the main road. I think to sum it up, look, we've only just sort of driven through. There's only 1 or 2 camps that we can see here. It's probably not the right time of the year to be peak fishing season. You can certainly put your boat in. In fact, you wouldn't come here unless you had a boat. Would I come here long term? Probably not. There's not a lot of fresh water available. It's got to be trucked in, any fresh water that's here. The facilities, you'd need to be self-contained. There seems to be no one around to have a chat to. I wanted to have a chat. I went into the office but couldn't see anyone, no one there. Anyway, we'll keep having a look around. We'll have half a cup and then probably mosey on out.
Walking back to the car. Day in the life of a cameraman.
This is the Cox River. So further down here it joins in with the Limmen River. It's a decent crossing here. We've just pulled up in a bit of shade to have half a cup and a bit of lunch. So we've just been into the Limmen fishing camp, and my advice is take it or leave it. Depends on what you're after, depends on what you're doing, whether it's going to be a good place to go or not. I suspect if you're a mad keen fisher, fully self-contained, it's probably a great place. You know, a couple of k's down the road, if that, a kilometre down the road, on the main road, and you suddenly find a spot like this, the Cox River. I don't think there's any campsites on this particular river. You can make what you need to make of it. So there you go. It's been a bit going on this morning, poking around. Cracker of a day. Just got to keep on enjoying it.
Can we open our eyes under the water?
If you want, you never know what you're going to see. This is called Butterfly Falls. It's about, oh no, it's not very far, 10 k's maybe from the Nathan River Ranger Station to the south. And we got here, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Beautiful day, no one else here. Bloody cracker. I'm actually a bit surprised to see so much water, or so good water, this time of the year. It is renowned for getting a bit stagnant, this waterhole. Still nice and clear, doesn't smell, it's quite fresh. Wash the dust off. Bloody ripper. We'll go on the Canadian breakfast this morning. Pancakes, bacon and maple syrup. Enjoy that. There we go, Canadian breakfast.
Maple syrup. Calm.
So if you've ever wondered what happens to your cans and bottles when you throw them into the fire in anticipation that they'll burn down and disappear, because we all know that doesn't happen. Classic example, here's a fire pit, obviously gets well used. Been no shortage of cans and bottles thrown in there over the years, I'm pretty sure. Come with me and I'll show you where the fairies take all your cans and bottles that you throw into the fire. Come with me. As you can see, here's all the old cans that have been thrown in the fire. been burnt, sort of. Bits of foil that have been screwed up and thrown in the fire. And we all know if you want to burn foil in the fire, you need to have it big open sheets, not screwed up in a ball, and then burn it on flame, not just throw it in the coals and walk away. Anyway, that's another story. But have a look at this, for those that might not be sure what they're looking at. This is a bower, and this one's been created by the great bowerbird. They're a grey, decent sized bird. I don't think I'll be able to get any footage of them because they're a bit elusive. Let's have a look at the bower. Just been in a couple of nights in at Butterfly Falls. Great little spot. First night we pretty much on our own in there. The second night the crowd caught up with us. So most campsites taken up, I think. Corrugated. I think we should drive up on the verge where he's graded. Yeah, great spot. There's actually some good water there to have a swim in and refresh. Usual for us, $10 a night I think it was. And, we had a great little spot under the tree, so we thought. Nice big broadleaf paperbark, lots of shade when we got there. As it turned out, the fruit bats liked the tree as well, so all night they were getting stuck into the blossom of the tree and throwing stuff at us and hopping all over the car. So we actually moved out from under the tree, so we're in the sun, but we weren't getting nailed by the fruit bats. It's all part of the juggling act. We're at a site within the Limmen National Park called the Southern Lost City, and there's probably a saying there about this time of the day that only mad dogs and Englishmen venture out. Anyway, Southern Lost City, a little walk, 2.5k. I recommend an hour and a half. Throwing a few bottles of water and a couple of snacks in the pack, and we'll wander off. It's warm, I don't know what it is, probably just over 30. I suspect it'll get a bit hotter if we get up onto the top of the escarpment there. But, look, we'll have a poke along and look around. Bloody spectacular formation, and a bit of woolly butt country. You can see over here the Darwin woolly butt. Look, there could be different sorts of this woolly butt. I know them as the Darwin woolly butt, but I doubt there's different varieties. One of the other characteristics of this woolly butt country is the spinifex understory, and it's probably a good management tool. Stops you straying off the track too far. Maybe we should introduce it to a few other sites around the country. You get this dense veg in the fissures or the valleys of the formation. It's out in blossom at the moment, and the blossom is obviously attracting the bees. It's alive with bees. I'm not exactly sure what the bush is, but I'm going to say it's an acacia. One of the 10 million varieties of acacia we've got in Australia.
boys out there, Mum.
Can't you do that, Mum?
Saving energy. Like a lost city.
Down through the Limmen National Park. It's a great bit of country, generally undiscovered. I think it's probably a good way to sum it up. Yeah, there's people poking around out here, but compared to a lot of the other iconic destinations around Australia, there's really no one over here. Tracks there. Boundary tracks. So just down the road here we'll turn into Lorella Springs for a few days, so that'll be another story. This is the end of this video, I think. Unless something spectacular goes on between here and the Lorella turn off, we'll be done. So we've had a blast poking around here. Plenty to see and do. Opportunities to have a fish, opportunities to have a swim, bit of an explore, rock climb, great camping. So I'd suggest you put it on your list of things to do. Looking for something to do. A bit hot and bothered, we just filled up the wood box just after we come out of the national park. I spotted a good bit of wood there, so we and fill up the wood box ready for the next week or so. go, you know the deal. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to follow along on our journey, hit the subscribe button. See you next time. Thanks for watching.
This wheel was getting stuck in that hole and it couldn't. Do you want me to pack some rocks?
Stand over there.
Yep, filming.